Welcome everyone to All In on Real Estate. I'm your host, Aaron Goins. I started this meetup because when I was in the military, no one in my circle talked about real estate. A lot of time we talk about debt and other finances, but nothing about real estate. So I want to start a meetup where people can learn about real estate and start building generational wealth for them and their families. So I'm very, very excited for our guest speaker today. Nika, how you doing? Ms. Roback, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm very, very honored to have you on here. I'm going to get started right away. What is your origin story into real estate?
So, um, I can give you maybe a pre-origin story into real estate. I've been involved in interior design for 20 years. So, in a sense, that's also real estate and helped me to set up my skill set for what I'm into real estate at this current moment by being involved in the construction, the design, being around contractors. So, which is actually what a lot of people are somewhat afraid of in real estate. So I'm glad that is my skill set. So I've had that for 20 years. So naturally, when I came into the space of real estate, I flipped as my first thing with partners. And then it just felt like I was doing the same job that I'd been doing for 20 years. So, and then, you start going to the real estate meetups and meetings and learning about all the different other asset classes. And then I had a mentor that put a capital raising course on. And I said, and just from all that I had been learning and listening to, that I was like, okay, that's a skill set that if I'm going to level up and do anything, then I'm going to need to have that skill. So I went to that and I've been involved in the capital raising game for the last the whole time actually, because I raised for the flips as well. So it's always kind of been right there alongside my journey. So, and I'm still doing it. So I get to help people within commercial real estate now and help them decide what passive investments will work for them. And then actively, I'm moving more into development. So close to the flipping, but on a whole new, grander scale in the future. So.
Okay, so what made you what really um got you into capital raising? What really was like that, man? I want to get in the capital raising part of it for you.
Well, like I said, I mean, it just like anything, it came up as an opportunity, a class that someone that I trusted and liked a lot was offering it. And I wanted to learn what she had to say. And from going to all of the trainings, it was like that is a skill that any investor is going to need to know how to do, no matter what part of real estate that they go into. Is it's other people's money, leveraging your money. You need to know how to utilize passive investors and private investors for anything that you're going to pull off in real estate. So I did it more of, because it was an opportunity. Part of it was, getting over a fear, being like, okay, I'm going to go really learn how to take that on and take any fear of talking about money and out of the equation. So get out of my comfort zone.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was
That's what
asking,
learning is all about, right?
right,
Growth and
right,
learning. Get out of
absolutely,
your comfort zone.
absolutely. I always ask this to people all the time. What was your a learning lesson when you first start off?
And what?
Into your real estate journey, what was a big learning lesson for you? Early
Hmm.
learning lesson for you.
Well, I don't know if this was a learning lesson so much as I thought it was very interesting that when I first started learning about real estate, how much that everyone kept coming back to and talking about mindset. I thought that was pretty fascinating because I was like, okay, I'm going to these meetings to learn about real estate, but everybody keeps, you know, really, really having that as a stress point. And, I actively look for that in my life and in general. And I thought, oh, how nice is that, that, the two kind of come together, and how important, and even my growth and encouraging that as I've learned my real estate, that it is true. It's very tied to it. So no matter what you learn, if your mindset isn't there, the knowledge could be wasted. So that's one. That was my first thing. There's so many other things, but
If you got a number, please,
okay, okay. I got another nugget.
Yeah,
Nugget.
please.
Um, Another thing is, it's kind of tied to the mindset thing, that a lot of people put that in front of them to begin with, like, oh, I'm going to start with single family, then I'm going to move to multifamily, or then I'm going to move up, to where actually, don't have that fear. Like, don't limit yourself. If you're not interested in single family, don't limit yourself that you need to start there because you think you need to start there out of fear.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Why do you think so many people do that? So why, I mean, is it a culture? Is it just, why do you think so many people start off with just this single fact? Is it something they know about, or what do you think?
I think it's the combination of that. When you're first learning something, it's not typical to think that you wouldn't start with baby steps, and learn a little bit at a time. But I say that also, like, obviously, I'm not saying, pull something off on your own and you don't know what you're doing. That's very risky. What I also mean by that, because the other good thing about real estate, which I've discovered, is you're not going to get really far doing it by yourself. Create that team. So that's what I mean by don't have that fear. Find someone that you can attach yourself with, that you respect, that you can partner with, and think, what can you bring to the table to that partnership, so you both have a win-win. Um, so if you're interested in multifamily, if you read a little bit about it, or you're industrial or mobile homes, don't think, well, I'll buy some single family houses for a couple of years and then I'll go into to a mobile home park. Just because you don't know, it's the same thing. You're gonna have the same learning curve for both of it, even at the beginning. You might as well go for something that appeals to you, or that you know um, you're excited about, and just find the right person to help you get there faster.
Right. So what? So let's. I'm not going to dig too deep, but um,
Okay.
let's talk about partnerships. Since you
Yeah.
you put that up, things like that. How was your first experience with your first couple of partnerships?
Um, I'd rather not talk about that, but talk about what you should look for in a partnership.
Okay, well we can talk about that. Hey, it's no problem.
We came out okay on the other end of it, but yeah, I think we both had some growth points to do, and neither one of us had partners, so there was a lot of challenges with that. But yeah, so one thing I'd like to say about partners, the same thing. I think what people forget to do in real estate, they go to these meetings and they start following down the path that the people are telling them to go. And I say, stop, look back, sit down and think about, what is your skill set? What are you good at? What do you like? What excites you? Like, are you good with numbers? Are you good with talking to people? Do you have the capital, but you don't know what to do and where to go to begin with? Write that down. What do you see yourself? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And then, so you can say to someone, this is what I bring. And then you can marry the person that doesn't have that skill set. That's the best partnership. You find, because if you find that you're both the same two people, that you have the same skill sets, and then no one's addressing the other aspect of real estate that needs to be done, then you'd be better off finding a different partner, even if you really like that person. I'm not saying, whether you like, or maybe you bring on a third person, that has that, but you need to have partnerships that you complement each other, and that you have the same values, and you have the same goals for the end goal.
Okay, so I think it's a great point what you make. So do you have any examples? I'm not saying you, but any examples of good partnership you've seen and bad partnership you've seen, just so people can really understand, a little bit more.
Okay. Trying to think. I guess I can't think of their names, but I mean, two
Nah, you
ladies
don't need
that
no
come up
names.
in my
Yeah,
head,
we need
but
no names. You don't need no names.
yeah. Well, I can tell you what the roles like that. Like for me, I'm the people person. I'm the talker, I'm the people person, and then also I bring the design and my knowledge of construction. So that's why the capital raising kind of came natural, that I fell into that role. But I'm not so much the numbers person. I don't have the patience to sit there and crunch the numbers or like put all the data down and keep up with that or keep up with the accounting. Like, oh, so I need that person. And those people sometimes have that fear that, like, oh, I have the numbers and I have the excitement of that, but they're terrified to talk to people.
Right.
And in real estate, you got to talk to people. So you would naturally want, those are the two that is the first thing that I could think of that is high level. And then that the getting into it that happened is the long term. Like, are you hold person, or that you want to build something that is cash flow versus the quick, like flippers, they kind of maybe like the quick, to where what is your real long-term goals? Do you want cash flow? Do you want it to be for years, or that you're trying to get to a point where you take yourself out and you just have mailbox money that, and everybody will figure that out, and they know, they might know that about themselves too. So that's good to have, that you share in those values as well as a partner.
Right. So going back to your journey, what and I think beforehand for your early, what you thought early on, but moving forward, what was how your journey towards like like mid career to like later career for you as far as your journey? Like,
Mid to later, I don't know. I mean, am I in my mid now?
well, I mean, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So
Right? Like, how
okay,
long is my journey? Am I
okay,
in the
so
middle of it?
how long you been in real estate?
It's like, I think 5 years, maybe 6 years.
Okay,
I know it's all
so
blending together.
right. So okay. So let me change it up there. How was
Yes.
COVID? How was COVID for you? How did that affect you and your real estate career?
Oh, actually, I feel kind of guilty about that, but I thrived through COVID. That's where the majority of the capital raising took over, and I didn't have, too much of the active happening. I just was focusing on the capital raising, and it really expanded the business of the capital raising because I could go to events that were virtual and meet people from all over the United States than just the local meetings that I had been attending before. So it's been beneficial and exciting. Yeah.
So were people more willing to talk about it during this time frame? Was it just a enthusiasm, more money on the on the line for you? I mean, what was the advantage from now to before? I mean, from then, like pre-COVID to that COVID era.
It was just that part. I don't know if there was any difference for people being open or having money. I think that part, stays the same. There's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of money in, what did they say, $1 trillion in people's IRAs that are not even being utilized. So it's just a matter of talking to those people and being able to help educate them about real estate and what the benefits of real estate, or even other things that's out there. I also learned a lot more by working with Peggy at the Nest Egg Builder about other asset classes. So I kind of took my knowledge up a few levels as well with other asset classes like industrial and the mobile home parks. The RV parks was interesting. That kind of came out of COVID as well. The rise of the RV parks out of COVID. Let's say industrial medical offices, just learning about other asset classes in the commercial realm that aren't talked about a lot.
So how has um your journey in Nest Egg Builders been as far as when you started to now? What has really enhanced you? I mean, I understand you have more knowledge of the different classification, but what else has really enhanced you being in part of that group?
It's been fun to grow as a team too. Well, met you and Cliff, and learning from the team and having that camaraderie was nice as well. To kind of, because when you work from home, you get a bit, then you're insulated and by yourself. So the fact that we also had our team was kind of nice as well. That team started growing through COVID as well. So to have
Right.
different perspectives, and we're from different parts of the country. I just feel like it went from being local for me to being not global, because I didn't have any people from New Zealand like Mr. International, show up yet, but we did have a Canadian. But to being, across the United States, which has been nice, just to expand that field of investors and people that I talk to. I mean, now it's just it's all over. I talk to people in New York, North Carolina, and it's exciting. I enjoy that aspect of it.
Okay. Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years?
Traveling with passive cash flow.
Mhm.
That's funny that you say 5 years, because that is my 5 year plan, because my son will be graduated in 5 years. So I plan on being on the road, extensively on the road. Still doing real estate, but a lot of it much, as passive as possible.
Right. Right. So I guess you're even part of many syndications and just having that mailbox money like you talk about.
Correct. Well, a lot of it will be things that I create as well. So
Mhm.
that will become passive for me too.
So any way to indulge in that, or just wait and see kind of approach?
What is the question?
Well, no, you said that some of the things you want to curate. So anything
Oh,
that you
create,
yeah.
yes. It's around the development that, that I see that happening, with the development increasing. That's what I mean by us creating them, that will not just build them to sell, but build to hold. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah. With partners.
Okay, so what would you tell somebody that's new into real estate, as far as things to look out for, or just what would be your advice to somebody who's new and starting off, who's really hungry and just eager to get into things?
Oh, find a mentor. Sit down and think about what your skill sets are, like I said, because I think people forget about that, and they start going down avenues that maybe don't even suit them, because they're just going down it because that's when they start to go to the meetings that they think that they're supposed to do, you know and we forget to stop and think, what makes us happy? um and that comes from doing what you love. And if you end up, because I had this one girl like learning to wholesale, and then and she was like an electrical contractor, had the experience with that, and she even had a house that she could already start Airbnb with people. I was like, then do that. Why do something you're not even enjoying because someone told you to do it? Like, yeah, it's just that. Sit down, think about what you like, and find teams, find partners, find a mentor, find someone to teach you, but for you to give as well, like, so you have a give and take. Yeah. And take as much education as you can. It doesn't have to be a $50,000 education either. If you have $50,000, I would use that to partner with someone and say, I have $50,000, teach me what you do. I will shadow you, rather than a course that costs that much. But that's just my own opinion. You'll learn a lot more by doing it, walking hand in hand next to them. So,
Okay, and I had like two more questions to ask.
okay.
Since we're capital raisers together,
Yes.
I'm just trying to get insight to people. So if you meet somebody who is an accredited investor, you just meeting off, what would be the process for you that you would take that person on from the time that they um, meet you to the time they probably gonna be part of a deal? What will be the process of it?
Um, well, I ask them the questions like that, like what do you like? What are your interests? What are your goals? What are your plans? I mean, it depends on where they are. I mean, someone at 20 years old is a very different scenario at someone at 60 years old, with kids or with grown kids, is about to retire. So, everybody's path and journey is different. So start asking questions. And those are all the questions, like, where are you in your life? What do you want to see? Where's your money located right now? Is it in an IRA? Is it in something else? Are you about to uh, inherit something? That where is it and where do you want it to go? And then the part of what they may like, what their risk tolerances are, what they feel comfortable in. Some people are riskier than others, and they're like, the highest return, it's great, bring it on. And then other people are like, I'm okay with the smaller because I feel like that's too risky. But so it's about getting to know them and then serving them where they are and helping them to get where they're going.
Okay, last question for over to the Anthony
Yes.
ask. Um, and I know this personally for you. So, what process has it been where you met somebody and it seemed like this person was not going to be part of a deal, doesn't want to be part of the deal, they're just hard, but do just being consistent, you and that person, that you got a person to a deal.
Hmm. I guess it depends upon how difficult they are. I
Or
mean,
do you have a time? You talk about many times, yeah.
I'm actually very persistent, and it takes that consistency. And a lot of people, tell me that too, and they appreciate it. Thank you for checking in on me. I'm still at this point, but I do appreciate that you're consistent, that you're still checking with me, you know. So yeah, you just have to be consistent and just come from a place of, I'm here to help you, whatever you need. Like, if you need a resource for anything, then let me know how I can serve you. And you just keep checking on them, yeah.
Well, but I'm saying, do you
Is
have a
that the
time when
question?
you can talk about that, like I mean, you don't got to see no names, but just a time where you met somebody and you took them through the process. It just seemed it was maybe kind of rocky, but you got them to a deal. Can you just talk about like one client that you had it?
Hmm. I'm trying to think, I've actually had pretty good. I mean, the one person that comes to mind that still is never, that then at one point you just have to be like, I think they have a hard time,
Mhm.
and I don't know if they're ever going to get into anything. Like,
Right, right,
so they know you're there, and that one, I kind of let just, I don't pressure anyone, so I don't like to pressure. I just like to serve. So, but I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that like it was rocky and then I got them there. Usually, we talk about it, and I've been pretty lucky that then they make a decision, or then they tell me, "Hey, I'm waiting the 6 months," and you know, I come back and talk to them then.
right,
Uh,
right. But
there's
you,
nothing
I mean,
been
you was a high
rocky
performer. I
though.
mean, you was a high performer last year for Nessa, and
Yeah.
you had great success. So, like, what was the secret sauce for you?
I'm genuine, and I think people can tell that. I mean, I am there to help them. I genuinely care, and I genuinely want to help people. So, and I think that comes through. I'm not a salesperson, I'm not there just to be like, here's our list, which one do you want? I mean, I'm truly there to be like, hey, and ask these questions, and I don't ever, I don't pressure, and I want them to be comfortable. I don't pressure anyone to get anything. So, and that helps, and they know that. Like, I give them space when they ask for it, and I gently then remind, hey, do you need anything? If I'm here if you need anything. So,
Right.
yeah, I give a lot of resources too, and a lot of education, and talk to people, and I get very personal. I've made a lot of really good friends from it, that has gone way past investing, because I like people. I enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy learning about people's lives and just things. I mean, one time this investor we got off on, dental care in Costa Rica, I mean, there's all kinds of things that comes up, I love getting to know people. So
Right.
I think that's part of the success is.
Okay. Mr. Nash, you got a question for Nika?
Yes, I do, Nika. Thank you very much. Great
You're
presentation.
welcome.
Fantastic. I like that. I like the part about people. So I like people myself, right?
Yes.
And you said get to know them, and then you said also you get to serve them. How do you serve people?
Um, I serve them well, for one, if they need resources, like by educating, serving them, like really listening. I think not just, you know, here's what we have, what do you want? I mean, I really try to pull out of them things that maybe they didn't think of, or that that I just have a way with that. I think because of the interior design, I have a way of pulling out what people's goals are and what they really see in their head,
Mhm.
or thoughts, and then the education part, because I did a lot of that as well. So I educate, and I really take the time. If someone's brand new, I'll break it down. Like, this is multifamily. This is what industrial is. This is kind of the returns. This is why. This is. I
Right.
take the time to sit down and explain. I mean, people have been like, "Oh my God, I learned some more from you in a 1 hour conversation about real estate in general than going to all these things for months, or a course that I went to, or whatever."
Mhm.
So I guess in that sense, I feel like I serve them by educating and taking the time to listen, and then resources. I mean, I've given people all kinds of resources, even active people. If they're not investing passively, I'm like, hey, I know this person, and I try to connect them and put people together. And I think this person would be good for you to talk to. Like, I'll give you an example. A person the other day said, hey, we're looking at buying a multifamily in Amarillo. And I was like, oh, I know somebody,
Mhm.
and they're probably not going to invest with me, but I still took the time, and I said, I think this other person, they did a 225 unit in Amarillo a few years ago. Like, so they should know the market. They will know, like, you can ask them the questions, and they're pretty open people that I think I just
Mhm.
put them together. So you think that maybe, down the road they might come back if they do want to do a passive investment, because I helped them with something else. I wasn't just like, oh, you're not passively investing, so I'm not going to talk to you. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm like, hey, let's go. We live near each other, so I could go hang out with them or something as well. So, but
Thank you. Thank you. So I think everybody else is busy, it's a good question, right? You said you need to get to learn about their personal lives.
yes,
That that's
we're
that
very personal.
that's very interesting because a lot of times people want to just tell you about a deal, right? I got a
Right.
deal for you, right? So how do you separate yourself from the rest from the crowd? What do you do to separate yourself from the crowd?
Well, that is one thing that the nest egg builder in general also says, that one of our benefits is that we don't just have the one deal, that then it's just like, this is our deal, this is our deal, do you want to invest, this is our deal. We don't have one deal at a time that we're just trying to talk someone into our deal. That's why we do sit down and say, okay, what is it that you want, because we have all these deals to choose from. you know I like that part, that I can go, oh, okay, this one sounds good for you. It's like a puzzle. I'm very find the solution. I love puzzles, and, putting the puzzle pieces together, the connecting the people. So I like that we have a lot of different things, and that has different goals. Like, some are cash flows, some are you wait for 2 years, you're not going to get anything, but you're going to get a good return. Like, I like that we have that mix to kind of, we probably have something for everyone, that I talk to, which is nice, you know. So
I like that. I like that. Very nice. Because I think a lot of times people just want to talk about deal, but you have to get to know people first.
yes.
Right?
Well, I'm going to say one thing about that too. I mean, in talking to investors, that is huge. Some people, they want to know who they're investing with, you know, even if the returns might be lower, if they feel better about a team versus another team, they might be like, you know what, I'm fine with this return, but I feel I like them better. I feel like they have a better team. So, you know, the higher return always, you know, isn't necessarily what people go for, you know? So
So in your opinion, do people invest in the deal or they invest in you?
I think they invest in you, or not necessarily me, but it's also me. And then I have a second tier because they have the
Right,
operator,
right.
you know, to deal with too. But yes, you know, it does start with me, and you know, I mean, they're not even gonna look at anything that we have if they don't like me, I suppose, you know. But
Exactly. Thank you.
Tiffany, Nika does this interior design. Can you talk a little bit more your interior design? Do you still do interior design, Nika?
some, yes, and then for the development, I will be doing interior design as well. I mean, because that is one of my skill sets, um, that will always play a role in my real estate. Yes, because I do enjoy it. I'm very much more excited to do it for on a commercial level than for individual homeowners that are, you know, have a lot of emotion attached to it.
Right. No, that's
Yeah.
understandable. That's understandable. Um, man, Tiffany, you have a question for Nika?
Hi,
Hi.
I am super late to the party. I'm cleaning up the kitchen, you know, had to feed my son. So I missed all of your presentation, but my understanding is that you're a capital raiser.
Yes.
You're doing some development. You're also interior design, which we just touched on.
Yes.
Did we talk about tools? Did you talk about the tools that you're using currently, like your CRM or I don't know, any tools?
We did not talk about tools, but I can talk about tools. So, you know, as with anything, the right tool depends on what you're looking to do. So we actually have Funnel Maker. That thing is a bear. It's a beast. You know, it it is like, oh, I obviously, you know, there's some pros and cons to it for sure. So I don't think everybody, you know, would need to have that extent, and you know, uh so it depends on what you need. If you just, you know, do you need a lot of email to a lot of people? If are you marketing, if that's what you need is a lot of like email marketing, it's going to be maybe a different CRM that you need versus if you need to also have project management in there. So if you have real estate and you need
Mhm.
project management included with your CRM, it might be different, you know. And maybe you might not find it in all one tool. I mean, I've heard a lot of people tell me that REI Black Book is pretty good. That kind of has all of that if you also have real estate projects, you know. So, but if you just need like for the least amount of money, some really good like email marketing one, it's Nutshell is pretty good.
Okay.
Uh, that has a lot of email, but there's no real project software in it. It doesn't have anything to do with real estate. You know, it's not a real estate one. And I've heard pros and cons against Podio, you know, is like one. Um, you know, so yeah, it just depends if it's truly for real estate, um, or if all you need is that you need to just talk to people and
Mhm.
have organize that and keep that. But oh, it is helpful. Like if you don't have some sort of software or organizational tool, you're in trouble. Like I couldn't live without my CRM. I
So
just
did you
couldn't live
talk
without
through,
CRM.
yeah, did you talk through your like your funnel? So obviously like you have a call with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take us through the first call with somebody? We meet each other. You call, you gather what my requirements are, what I'm looking for in a deal. I think I heard you say something about 6 months, like a seasoning period before they can invest.
Oh, no, 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 no.
Oh, okay.
He was saying, what was it about? I think you came in when he was saying, could I tell him about somebody that was rocky for a while and then ended up investing later, but I couldn't think of anyone.
Okay.
Um, so that was that comment was about like
Oh,
maybe
okay. Okay.
if they told me to leave for 6 months and come back, because I do have those, and I mark those notes and I put it in my calendar. Oh, you told me to call you back in like January or whatever, that your funds would come back, because that is the case in with a lot of passive, that they say, okay, I'm in this investment, my money's coming back in then, and I want to be able to deploy it out as quickly as possible when it comes back in, not have their money sitting there. That's what that was relating to. No, no,
Okay.
no. You don't have to wait at all to invest in
If you're doing
some of
all
our things.
if you're doing all accredited, right, you don't have to wait.
Right,
But
but
if it's a
we
non-accredited,
also have some things that have nothing that are more on the debt side. So you don't have to. They have nothing to do with the SEC. So.
okay, gotcha. Hmm. And
And
then
I
how's
learned
your,
that distinction this year, that was the case, that if it's set up like notes or debt, and it's not tied to equity, then it doesn't follow any of those. It's not underneath the SEC rules. So,
so are you wrapping notes or
no, we just happen to have one thing that is set up like a note. It's a
okay.
little different. It's under mezzanine lending. So it's a little different. It's collateralized still against real estate, but it's like a portfolio of real estate.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Okay, awesome.
it's kind of like a note. You're the lender though, so you're debt. You're lending, so it doesn't follow under the SEC things. So
Gotcha. Can people invest out of their self-directed or solo 401ks
yeah,
for those? Okay,
yeah.
awesome. And then did you talk about your development a little bit? How you
I
got
did
into that?
not. Well, that one's I'm just.
You're not supposed to talk about it? Okay, don't worry about it.
No, 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 no. I mean, I can talk about it, but it hasn't. It's just I'm just creating it. I'm just starting it. So there's nothing, I haven't done it yet. So
Oh, so have you found
I'm
any
doing it. It's like,
like that?
yeah. It's creating the company and setting that all up right now. So stay tuned.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are these gonna be like multifamily developments or mixed use?
They will be kind of a mixture of those, because what we're looking to do is provide the services of us being the developer, and then also we have sustainable materials. So we're
Mhm.
kind of bringing that and saying, hey, you know, have you thought of building it more sustainably, and we can bring this to the table and kind of co-GPing with people. So they would have the land, or they already kind of have the deal, and we would come in and assist with that with all of our experience in design, construction, the sustainable, so helping them to put it together. Lenders, like, the engineering, the architects,
Oh
for
wow.
people that have it, that want to do a project, but they don't know how to build it. So,
Gotcha. That makes
yeah.
sense.
And instead of hiring a contractor and still them running it, then we offer to say, look, we'll partner with you and we'll just take care of it. But we'll be a partner. Like,
Mm, that makes sense. What states are you operating in?
well, I'm in California. So actually that development will start more here in California because I'm here. And because of a lot of our connections are here. But some of it we could help a little bit with the materials. We could ship anywhere. I mean, we're actually even thinking in Costa Rica, a little bit, Mexico. But
So wait, are these, because when you say shipping materials, are you talking about like containers? Are you talking about like, and you say green things, is this to like a modernized container or something?
oh no, the
Okay.
containers. No, I know the containers. It's within the world of like what SIP panels. I don't know how much you know about SIP panels. So yeah, they're structurally insulated panels. So it's still classified. I mean, that part is built in the factory, but it's not made in the that's made in the factory, but because they're panels and you erect them at the site, it's still considered to be site built. So you don't have that same like, having everything built at the factory and bringing a crane, you can walk it in your fence in the backyard. Um, it's more customizable too. It's not modular in that sense. It's hard to explain, because it's like, oh, there's so many things to. And then even within the SIP panels, there's so many different composites that you can put on it. And we actually have several different panels that, depending upon what your needs are for the project, like if it's, 400 square foot ADU, then, you don't need the same engineering and possibly need I-beams that if you were going to have, a multi-story multifamily, so.
Okay. No, that makes sense. That's awesome. Sorry, I've been peppering you.
Excited. I'm excited, but I'm like, "Ooh," you always don't want to you want to talk too much about it till it like really comes to fruition.
Yeah. That's
So,
awesome.
but
Definitely know that feeling. Definitely know that.
hopefully that will take me to my end game in 5 years. Yes, that's the goal.
Definitely know that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any more questions for Nika?
No, I'll have to go back and watch the recording for the rest of your story. I don't want you to repeat everything, so I'll watch the recording.
I don't know. He was asking questions. I mean, and we were just kind of giving advice and tidbits and lessons learned, and
No.
so yeah, it's been a fun journey. I love real estate. I mean, I could like talk about it, all day long. I know. I told someone. Well, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. Not in the recording.
Okay. All right. All right. And look, we will end the recording right now.
Okay.
And Nika, our next speaker next week is one of your own, Mr. Mills.
Oh, good.
Craven.
Yes.
Yeah. So he is the next speaker next week. So I'm going back to back nest egg builders. So pretty cool.
All right.
But
we all have very different, like, it's funny that our team, where we all have such different backgrounds, that we come from. It's very interesting in that sense.
Right. Absolutely. So
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you, Nika, so much for being a great guest speaker.
You're welcome.
Some gems and things like that. I wish you well. I will definitely talk to you more. I will be catching up with you at least 5-year plan. I want that 5-year plan to come fruition for you. So
it will.
It was a pleasure meeting you face to face as well.
Putting it out there into the universe. So.
Exactly. You got to speak it out there. You got to speak it out.
I am speaking it out there. Yes.
So definitely. So I will see you guys next week. God bless you. David Mills will be our guest speaker next week. See you next week.